Hey, what is up, everybody? Happy Thursday to you. For those of you guys who have watched me do this before, one of the things I am horrible at is time zones. And Will loves to make fun of me on time zones all the time, and rightly so, he should. So as far as I know, it is actually Thursday for just about everybody that's watching here, with the possible exception if we have any of our friends in China. I know we've got some
Or
friends.
maybe Australia. Is
Maybe
Australia?
Australia, right? Is it? It's probably still barely Thursday, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I haven't been to Australia. I'm a little afraid to go now that I've seen all of the snakes and things like that.
Right,
Looks
sure.
beautiful though.
But here I've got my friend Katie with me today. And Katie, I'll just because everybody doesn't know, where are you watching from today?
I am in Gadsden, Alabama. It's about an hour northeast of Birmingham, and I'm about 2 hours west of Atlanta.
Nice. And you are an hour later than me, so it is noon.
No, I'm the central time zone too, so I guess as it cuts straight down this way. Georgia is Eastern, but we make that central cutoff.
Gotcha. So for everybody who's watching, as you know, we love to just have you say hi in the chat. So we want to say hi to you. Let us know where you're watching from, maybe what your weather's like, and maybe what you got going on today on a Thursday. Katie, what do you got going on today?
I am filling orders, or I will be. I've been filling sports blanks orders. So we are just shipping those out and starting to get ready for UV Energize, which is in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
And just having a busy week. This is my little girl's first full week back at school. Yeah, just busy times. What about you?
That's great. Well, I'm having lunch with some friends. We try to do it monthly, but it ends up never being monthly. It's further apart than that. But they're going to come here and hang out with me for an hour or so, which will be nice. And then I'm working on setting up a webinar, which I'm going to start teaching pretty soon here, which that's going to be fun. And I've got several designs that I'm working on, which is kind of my normal day, always new designs going on, which I see you've got new products coming out fairly often yourself.
I do. Yeah, it sort of feels like it's like that throughout the year, but especially as we get towards Q4, I'm ramping up just like all of the makers are ramping up. And I think I have 10 new shipments on my front steps right now. So I'm staying busy trying to fill orders, but then also get all of that new stuff.
That's great. Well, I'm going to say hi to a bunch of people and let me know if you know anybody there in the chat too. I see Deborah's here. Hey, good to see you, Deborah. You're here. I haven't seen you for a while, so it is good to see you. Kurt, what's up, my friend? Melissa, Carrie, Christina, Lynn, Debbie Johnson. Yeah, from Dallas. I know it's hot where you are, Debbie. Denton, good to see you. Northwest Arkansas, not too far from where I'm at. Rose, good to see you from Pennsylvania. Shelly from Texas. Shelly, are you up around Dallas? Where are you at in Texas? I don't remember where you're at. So good to see you. So we've got over 20 people here with us already. So that's great. Janet, good to see you.
From names I know Janet, and I know Lynn, and I know Carrie and Christy and several folks here. So I see some of my jewelry folks hopping on today.
That's great. Yes, Lynn. It was good to see you, Lynn, in Atlanta. That was fun. I got to get back there soon. That's great. And of course, I saw Katie just a couple weeks apart, right? First at our last conference and then in Atlanta again. So that was fun.
I try to make it to all the places as I can. Yeah, Samita and Anuj have done a really great job hosting events at Homebound.
Yes, they have. And honestly, they're just great hosts.
They're nice people.
They're fun to be with. It is really great.
Yeah,
to see a bunch of people there. I want to be able to travel more if I can. It's if we can afford it. I'm going to try to get around the country and meet more people because it's a great joy. Oh, hey, Greg Mador and Judy, you're just a couple miles down the street from me. I can probably open my door and yell and you hear me. You're pretty close. I see you guys. Sandy from California.
I think I just shipped an order to Sandy. Good
to
see you, Sandy.
Very cool. Cheryl Pippin, good to see you. North Spokane. Awesome. So as we get started here, before I'm going to have Katie introduce herself because I know everybody doesn't know Katie, but for those of you who do know Katie or who have bought from Monarch Pine, would you let us know in the chat, hey, yes, I've met Katie, or yes, I've bought from Monarch Pine, and maybe let us know what's your favorite thing you might have bought from her. I'm sure she'd love to hear that. So let's
Yeah,
see.
that would be interesting. Let's see. I think, Sandy, you got metal blanks from me, didn't you? Well, hi, I'm Katie. I'm from Monarch Pine. I'm based in Northeast Alabama, and I sell jewelry findings and blanks to makers around the country and globally. I got my start in earring hooks and then moved into things like seed bead toppers. And now we also do a lot of jewelry blanks that people engrave on their lasers, and really just about anything you can think of that you need for jewelry, I can help you with. I started as an earring maker myself, and now I supply the tools, the blanks, the jump rings, and um, all sorts of things.
That's great. So
And
when did you start in the laser industry? When did you get your first one? What was it? What was that like?
okay, so I started my maker brand in early 2020, beginning of the pandemic, like a lot of us.
Yeah.
And I was die cutting leather and making earrings. And I found myself wanting to add like wood arches and wood connectors and things like that. And I was shopping online trying to find laser cut blanks that other people had made. And I increasingly was buying more of them, wanting to do engraved earrings. I was like, I wonder if I could get a laser myself. And about the same time, I got interested in custom manufacturing hooks that would work well with thick material substrates. So in early 2021, like a lot of us, I got my first glow forge.
Yeah.
And that's where I started with my laser. And initially, I was selling blanks and findings like wood blanks to people. And eventually, I got away from selling the blank wood pieces and selling to the laser users themselves who were cutting their own blanks but needed those extra components to jazz up their earrings. And now I have an X12F1, an Eon Mirror 9, and then I recently got a JPT 60-watt moped that I haven't really had time to play around with yet, but I'm looking forward to using the fiber laser as well.
That's cool. I realize I just did something really mean. I asked you a question and then put a bunch of things on the screen that I know you can't read while you're talking. So these are all really
Okay,
complimentary. So
looking
I'd
now.
love you to. I'm going to talk for a minute and let you read these because
Okay.
I want you to hear the compliments.
Okay, I'm looking down at my computer. I need a computer that's like this high or something.
Right, right. Well, you deserve to hear all these compliments because you are very loved, and there's lots of people who need to get to know you still. So that's what we're going to spend this time introducing you. You know what? Why don't we just we'll just jump around? But Lynn has a question, so I'll just let you see if this is something you can field right now. Lynn asks, "Can you only engrave on the jewelry with a regular laser versus an F1?" And that might be a little bit of a broad question, but I'll let you try to take a stab at that.
So if you're wanting to engrave on stainless steel jewelry blanks, you will want to use a marking spray. If you're using a CO2 or diode laser, you could use Ceremark, Laser Bond, or Brilliance spray, and it will cause a chemical reaction that marks the jewelry without removing material. If you get some of my black jewelry, that's powder coated similar to a tumbler, and you wouldn't need spray with that because your laser would remove the black coating to reveal the silver underneath. So that would be for a diode or a CO2. And I've got some users in my group who have been using different marking sprays and have gotten really crisp black results. If anybody wants a tutorial on that, just reach out to me and I can show you the process of putting the spray on and wiping it off. But if you want to do an infrared laser like the X2F1 or get a fiber laser, it'll be nice because you won't have to deal with the spray. So it cuts out that extra step and you can engrave directly on the material. And instead of marking, it'll remove material. You'll get a shallow engrave with your F1, or you can get a deeper engrave with a fiber.
Nice. Very good. Some wonderful things. We're just going to have to share all these. These are great. Shelly says, I had the pleasure of sitting next to her on the first day of the Oklahoma convention. I was a fan of her company before I met her, but now even more so. Yes.
I think that's when I ran in late from the vendor room and was like, I'm just going to make a friend. So I decided to see if somebody would let me squeeze in next to them. So I think that was Shelly.
That's great.
And I was like, oh, I was in there at Monarch Pine and she was like, "Oh, that's you. I know you." You know, so it's neat to see people's faces after you know their names.
It really
Which is
is.
something I really love about your conferences is getting
That-
that in-person connection.
we do too. It's our favorite. It's great. Christina said, I haven't bought anything yet, but I'm in the Facebook group, and it's one of my dreams to start jewelry when I get the right laser for metal.
Well, you don't have to wait until you get the right laser for metal, though. You can make acrylic and wood earrings, like this earring that I'm wearing. Let me see if it will show up on camera. I need like a black box. Here we go. Oh, wait, am I centered? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, all right, there we are. So, you can start making leather and wood earrings, and those sell great. When I have done outdoor markets, my wood and acrylic earrings are always the first things to sell out, and they can be great scrap busters. If I know Misa has been doing an ornament a day challenge, you could do a pair of earrings a day challenge too. Like as you're cutting your 1/8 inch boards of wood and acrylic, just squeeze some earrings into those extra places and then get some earring hooks and pop them on.
I
I've
love
got
it.
earring hooks where you don't need jump rings, so it really saves you a lot of time. And I would be happy to help anybody start with that.
Well, in fact, I was going to wait till later, but once again, you gave me a great lead in. So I just want to show people your Etsy page,
Okay,
and
thank you.
so I'll just throw that on here now,
Okay.
and you can find it there at monarchpine.etsy.com, or you can just go to Etsy and search for Monarch Pine, and you'll find her. But I wanted to maybe just you give us some highlights here. Maybe talk about a couple of the things that they can find here. Obviously, you've got looks like 774 items. So we're going to go through them
Yeah.
one at a time. No,
As
we're
you
not.
can see behind me, my house is packed. This is the
Yeah,
area formerly known as my living room where there was, the Christmas tree and piano and, you know, we've got a few things in here. But
good.
as you're looking through here, you'll see,
And
let's
you tell
see.
me where you want me to go.
Okay.
I'll go wherever.
Let's look at, we've got leather earring dies. That is towards the top.
Yep, right
This
here.
is for folks that want to take a veg or chrome tan leather, and they're basically like cookie cutters for leather, and you can cut them out and add like an acrylic or wood connector, or just put a hook. Below that is the metal jewelry blanks. That's a really popular section in the shop. You can see towards the top, there's the paw print necklaces, the cheer megaphone, and the football. So all of that's really good heading into football season. So those are the sorts of things that you'll engrave with your infrared or your fiber. Below that, premium stud toppers. These are really popular, especially with the acrylic folks to make team earrings. You could go through and find a seed bead that matches your local high school and then make the word earrings that go sideways, or do just like a football out of leather or wood and put those on top.
That's great.
Yes, we got a lot of stud toppers and more coming every day. People tell me, I need a light orange and a white, or can you get me a maroon and silver? And we're bringing in new color combos all the time, especially leading up to football season. Below that, we've got the ear wires and hoops. And this is what I was talking about with just cutting a pair of earrings on your CO2 or your diode and then putting a pair of earring hooks on them. So you can see all of these earring hooks on this top row don't need jump rings to connect to your material, because I've created them where the loop is sized to accommodate that 1/8 inch, 3 millimeter thick material without having to add the 2 jump rings. So it's a big time saver. Let's
That's great.
see what else we've got. And then I have several other things on here. I have necklace and bracelet chains for those who might be cutting pendants or just engraving pendants and need to add to a high quality chain. All of my chains are surgical stainless steel, so they're not going to turn your skin green. They aren't going to tarnish or turn dark, and it's going to be great for folks with sensitive skin. Then I have a lot of different charms, pendants, earring studs and backs towards the bottom of that left sidebar is a pretty popular section. You can get the flat pad post to glue to your laser cut studs, or go through and find pretty little pearl or cubic zirconia connectors to jazz up the dangles that you cut. And then I have other basics like connectors, links, fringe hoops, arches, jump rings, and I even sell the tools themselves like pliers, bender bars, mandrels, hole punches to cut turn business cards into earring cards. So yeah,
This
about
is great.
anything you can think of that you might need to create jewelry, we probably have it here.
Man, what a gold mine, right? Of
Thank
if you
you.
need something, it's probably here. This is great. Uh, oh, in fact, okay, I'm just going to put a couple of these taking notes right now. This is great. Uh, and I love the hooks that don't need the jump rings.
Yes. Those are life changing. I brought a couple of hooks to show y'all what I'm talking about when I talk about the loop.
Yeah.
I wish I had, let's see, I have this little U-line divider. Let's
Let me
see if
see.
that would
Let me
get
see if
back.
I can take myself.
Okay. All right. So this first thing is a traditional earring hook that has about a 2 millimeter loop. So that loop is way too small to fit a piece of acrylic on. You would have to put 2 jump rings on it. So we've got earring hooks that have loops that range anywhere from 4 millimeters up to 6 millimeters. Show you. So you can see the difference here. That this gold one is the 4 millimeter loop. So you can put your acrylic or wood or leather dangle directly on the hook, and you won't have to use any jump rings whatsoever. And I've got people that will sit there and make 100 pairs of earrings at a time. And if any of y'all ever mess with jump rings, you know that's not fun. So being able to just open this loop, slide an earring on, it makes a big difference. There's my mom. That's Diane Mullinax. She probably just figured out how to get on here, but she was making sure she was at home and ready to watch. Hey, Mom.
That's great. I love it. That's awesome. Here's another couple of questions. I'll throw some more on
Okay.
here for you, and we'll this is great. This is how live works. Is Katie and I talked before we went live, and I have several things we're going to go through, and it's better just to answer people's questions, and we'll get to the other ones if we get there. So this is great. Lynn asks, how well does the etched jewelry hold up over time with using marking spray?
Lynn, are you using a CO2 or a diode? It
I,
should be a permanent mark
yeah,
because it's creating a chemical reaction with the heat. So it's going to be like if you were using a fiber laser and you were annealing the metal. So it should be permanent.
okay.
And the etched jewelry should be permanent as well because you've actually removed material there.
Okay.
And if you want it to be darker, like with your F1, you could increase your power, decrease your speed, or do an extra pass, and you could get that deeper and darker. And then same way on your fiber, you can get a more intense engrave. Yeah, but it'll be permanent.
That's great. Right now, you're just on Etsy. Is that correct?
Yes.
I
I
see.
have the goal of getting onto Shopify, but I have such a large inventory. It's sort of a process to get over there because I want to make sure that I'm not overselling
Yeah.
by having people buy the same thing on both platforms.
Yeah.
So that's a goal that I have over the next year is to add Shopify.
That is a challenge for sure. But great question. I saw Kurt. I saw you ask that question, so I appreciate that. That's great.
Yeah,
Well, you guys,
it goes to Etsy. But I have got $4 flat rate domestic shipping. If you order multiple times, you can use a free add-on code and not have to pay more shipping. So it works pretty well. Christina said, hi, Mom.
that's great. That's awesome. I love it. Well, you guys keep the questions coming. I'll grab them as quickly as I can. And while I'm waiting for more questions, I'll just start asking Katie for starters. Well, first of all, I know that being a business person is work, of course, and there's
Yes.
always things we don't enjoy, but I'd love to hear what's one or two things that you really love the most about what you do.
I can think of two things that I really love. One is that I get to be creative. When I was an earring maker, I was creating designs and looking at patterns and expressing my creativity that way. And now I'm expressing my creativity by coming up with new blanks to be cut out of sheets of metal
Mm.
or picking out colors that go pretty together for the seed bead toppers or going into Canva and making graphics. So I love that every day is different and that I get to be creative and focus on helping other people make things that are beautiful. And something else that I really like about being a business owner is the flexibility. I have a first grader and I never miss anything of hers. If she has something at the school, I will be there. Sometimes it might mean, and I know we all know how this goes, that I might be working some on the weekends or working at night, but you have that freedom to move things around and never miss anything with your family.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's something else that I really enjoy.
that's great. I love that. That's really cool. Um, it's so. What are some? We talked about this offline too, but what are some of the challenges that you face both as a creator and also as a business owner? I know some of those will overlap, and some of those will be completely separate. But what's some challenges that you face that maybe everybody else can identify with, or maybe that are unique?
One challenge that I had when I was primarily making earrings was being able to make enough earrings to make the amount of money I needed to pay myself.
Yeah,
Well, because I mean, I guess you can only physically make so many pieces of jewelry. And that was one place where the large loop earring hooks came in handy because I could make them more quickly. But yeah, so I did bring on help. I've got one of my helpers, Brittany, behind me, and she was able to help me by die cutting some of my leather, or she can package earrings, do post office runs, things like that. But yeah, I think the workload and learning to delegate, because when you're making something, there's just so many components that go into it, from prepping your materials, cutting them, finishing them. And I think something as a supplier that's a challenge is managing a large and growing inventory,
yeah,
wanting to not order too much where you have a lot of leftovers, but then be able to meet demand and have a good supply of the popular products.
oh, for
And so
sure.
I'm always having to remind myself to, see how do the hook levels look, how do the seed bead levels look, which blanks are selling well, and making sure I work in time to manage inventory while doing all of the other things you do throughout the day.
Do you, I don't know if I bet you'll be able to identify with this because I think it's pretty universal for business people. I know for me, as my business grows, is great, uh, but
Yeah.
the volume of messages I get
Ooh,
in,
yeah, that's hard.
increase and increase and increase, and then also not only the volume, but where they're coming from. And
Yes,
so
it
every
gets
now and
really
again,
confusing
yeah,
because
it is.
I'll have emails at my work and personal email, and then
Yeah,
I'll have, Instagram, Facebook page, personal Facebook messages, tags, Etsy messages. And that's something where I need to work on. Maybe you could give me tips on how to manage that. I don't know the solution, but it is hard because if you are on your computer all day answering questions, you might not have time to do, you know, the work as well. So it's a balance of
yeah.
customer service and then still, getting orders out the door and restocking, things like that.
I mean, I'll give you an example that just came up just now. For example, one of my new friends I love so much, Daniel, is in the chat there. What's up,
Oh,
Daniel?
Daniel Gonzalez. He is
Good to
excellent.
see
He's
you.
just made some jigs for Monarch Pine that I'll have to show you in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. And the reason I mentioned Daniel is because I have. He'll know what I'm talking about. Uh, I have dropped the ball. I told him I'd help him with something, and he got lost in my messages. Not his fault at
Yeah.
all. And so, Daniel, I'm going to talk to you today, and we're going to make that happen. So, yes, sir. But that's a real thing with a growing business is that you get messages from multiple. directions and multiple platforms, and
Yeah.
email, Instagram, wherever you are is where they come from. And then also you get them in comments,
Mhm.
and you'll even get them in comments that are not about what the post was about, and
Yeah,
so
and they're
you're
just asking you, and I have to try to remember to go back to them if it's not if it's something that I know off the top of my head, like what size hole should you make for your earrings, or how far should it be from the edge? It's about um 0.6, 0.7, but is the answer if anyone's wondering. I
sure.
could just answer that, but if it's something where it's like how many millimeters is this part of this piece, or sometimes there's things where you have to go grab some digital calipers and you're not home right now and you have to remember to get back to people.
Right.
Yeah, that's hard on Etsy. If it's a question I know I can't answer right now, I will try to mark the message as unread so I can later filter by
Yeah.
unread. Sometimes that's harder to do on social media though, because even if you mark it as unread, it still gets buried,
Yep. And
never
then,
to be seen again unless they message you again.
well, and if you start adding team members to help you,
Mhm.
if they read it, it gets marked as read, and then you don't see it. I'll let you know because that happens to me. So that's a challenge as well.
Do you have help with your messages?
Sometimes, yeah. Most of what you see on social media is me, and when you get to know me, it sounds like me too. So it's me.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, every now and again, I'll have people help me. So yeah, we can talk about that too. I don't want to lose a couple of them here. Rose asked this. She said, "Do you offer any starter packs for the acrylic jewelry?"
I don't have any, but that's a good idea. I do have a starter pack for earring arches, which, okay, let me grab one and I'll show you
Well,
what I'm
do
talking
it.
about.
Yep, yep. This is so
Um,
good.
right behind my desk. So I have a starter pack that shows where you can see oh, wait, I'm not in front of the camera. It's really
Yep,
hard to see. But
there you
anyway,
go.
so I have
Yep,
a starter pack for that. And I have had metal blank starter kits, but I haven't had starter packs specifically for acrylic jewelry. But that is a good idea because I sell the pliers that you use, I sell the hooks. So it's a good idea. I like it.
that's great. Uh,
Maybe we'll do that next.
Rihanna said, "We are loving the sports metal blanks. Thank you for these. That's great.
They
Love it."
are so fun. One that is really popular right now are the footballs. I've got one right here.
Yeah,
And I've still got the gold in stock. Let's see if I can put it in front of this black box. I know you.
I can also put it on the
It's
screen
hard.
here
Okay.
too. How
But
about?
a lot of people are selling these to entire football teams right now. And they're putting the player's number, like number 19, or putting their first or last name or the team name
Yep,
on the front and or the back. And that is a great way to do volume. Or you could, something else people are doing is they're taking this cheer necklace.
yeah,
Let's see, I think you can kind of see
yeah.
that. And they're approaching cheer coaches and making necklaces for the moms of the entire team. And so then you're selling, 15 necklaces at once. So
That's great.
thank you, Raina. I appreciate it.
I'll try to put this. It take me a minute to get up there, but there we go. There's the football ones.
Yes. And we've got cheer, football, and the paw prints up right now. And then baseball, soccer, basketball, and volleyball should be restocking soon. Hockey is coming, ballet is coming. So I'm trying to work my way through all of the sports.
That's
Okay,
great.
Lynn asked, what's the marking spray called? There's three that I see people using a lot. Probably the most popular is Ceremark, but Brilliance is cheaper. And then another one that I have heard people talk about is Laser Bond. I believe that GS2 sells Laser Bond.
Okay, that's great.
And you would spray it on, let it sit for a minute, laser, and then you'll wipe off the excess with like a polish cloth. So when you buy from me, I put a free polish cloth in every order. So even if you're not using marking spray and you're just engraving, You could use your polish cloth to get any little fibers off from the room that you're in or from the engraving process. So,
That's great.
she can't wait for hockey. Thank you. I'm excited for it to come. I hope that it's one of the packages that's outside right now. So we'll see.
That's awesome. So I know you get a lot of questions, and I do too, but I know you get a lot of questions from people, primarily about jewelry. What are some common questions that people tend to ask that maybe you can address here, or maybe some common challenges that people run into that you could address, maybe some tips that you could share with us?
Let's see. What would some Well, I get a lot of questions about how to position your material on your F1 or on your fiber. And one recommendation I would have would be to frame. I frame the mess out of everything.
Yeah.
But also to go through, I've got my little F1 here, and use a jig. And I have these wooden jig files that are free in my Facebook group. You can cut these with your CO2 and your diode, and they work really nicely. I don't know if this is going to show, but they fit right into the plate here. And then Daniel has been making jigs that are 3D printed, and
Love it.
they will actually fit. I'm just going to show. They fit into where that little base plate goes. So if you use a jig, that'll help with accuracy and repeatability. You can get your file set up, frame, see that it's going to work out, and then put that jig into the same position every time. And then you can batch process and know that your engravings are going to be straight. Sorry, I'll make sure my F1 doesn't fall off this little table.
Man, I gotta say, as a side note, the F1 is probably I started in 2017 with lasers, and it is the craziest, most popular little machine I've seen since I've been doing this. And I love the fact that you just reached out of the frame and brought it in.
A lot of people ask me, is it heavy? Is it huge? Like, no. Here it is.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal to tote it around. And it's kind of amazing that you can engrave metal jewelry with something that costs less than $1,500. When I was first looking at my laser, I was looking at doing metal, and I saw that it was going to cost thousands of dollars to get started. I mean, $1,500 isn't a small amount of money, but it's a lot lower barrier to be able to start that. But it's nice too for taking to shows. A lot of folks will take their F1 to shows and engrave jewelry and leather patches, things like that on the spot.
It's cool. And technically there are other companies that make lasers that will do similar things, but the form factor is hard to beat. The fact it's got a handle right on top, it's really great. I love it.
And I love that it's got the enclosure on it. Like, an enclosure is something that I really want for my fiber.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about the eyesight of the other folks in the room with you. So it's nice that the F1 has got that already on there.
I mean, I definitely never stare at my laser while it's running. Yeah, right. All the time. I'm
so paranoid about fires. I definitely probably stare too much.
Yeah, I understand completely. I know you mentioned, by the way, that your cat's going to join us at some point. We'll see if your cat, I see him or her behind you on the stairs, right?
Oh, yes, that's Coral. She was in the live that I did in Fiber Laser Focus the other day. I'll see if she'll come here. They never perform when you want them to, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, right. Absolutely not. Right. That's great.
Okay, she's being a cat and she's uninterested right now. But that's okay. She'll probably come, like, later when I have tiny little things out, she'll probably come and jump up and knock those off.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's like prime cat behavior, but that's okay. I love her.
So, because we all love to talk about our furry family, right? So my dogs, I have two, and my dog Jagger, when he was younger, I decided to bring him onto a live stream with us because I thought it'd be funny. He's cute, and he had absolutely no interest whatsoever. In fact, I have a screenshot of it. that he just yawned through the whole thing.
He does not look pumped to be there.
No, and here's another one.
That's
Yeah, and one more just in case you're not sure. He's not interested. Yeah.
I guess animals are like children. They don't perform when you want them to. You're like, they always do this specific thing, and then when you really want them to do it, they're like, nah.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah, right. That's great.
Regina said she got her shipment in last night. What are you engraving today, Regina?
Yeah, let us know.
I have been working on cheer necklaces for myself. My daughter is on the little C team cheerleading team, so I've been putting her name on them for me and my mom and sister and everybody to wear.
I think this is I can tell you what, I'll start on this question. You finish it for me, okay, if I miss anything. Because Lynn asks, is there a trick or tip to line up jewelry jigs on a CO2? Definitely. The way that I do it, Lynn, you've got I think you said an Omtech. It doesn't matter what brand you have at all. The way that I do it is I find a place in the bed that will never change. For example, on my Glowforge, the crumb tray has what I call shoulders, little raised side pieces, and I will take the jig and I will push it into one of the corners. Like for me, it's usually the front left corner, but it doesn't really matter. Front left corner, so that this jig will be in exactly the same place every single time. Totally repeatable. I don't have to think about it. So that's one of the ways I do it. On my Mira 9, same thing, a different corner, but same idea where I just find a repeatable place that I can do it. Is that the way you do it, Katie? Or
yeah, that's what I would do. If you were, say, cutting this jig file, I would put it, say in the back right corner, cut the jig there, and then actually go on the jig file and put the name there, and then ignore the jig and go through and engrave without moving it, and always just put the jig in the exact same place every time.
And Lynn, I've got a tutorial on doing that if you need it on my YouTube channel. So feel free to hit me up. I'll try to post it for you. I was using a Glowforge, but it's exactly the same no matter what you're using. It's not unique. So real quick, Regina asked or said, what's a great one to start with? She has a big order. I'm
trying to remember what was in her order. I'm pulling it up. We'll see if I can pull it up really quickly, or maybe she'll comment what she had. If she's like everybody else, she probably had football necklaces in hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. She had paw print, oval pendant, and football necklaces. Oh, and horizontal bars, some testing cards. Oh, yeah, you had a lot of things. It actually just keeps going. All right, I know what I would do if I were you. I need to have more like things beside me for next time.
Yeah.
But I saw that she has got a test card in her order. Yeah. So I sell material test cards, so you can run a material array and figure out what settings you want to use. So I would definitely start there and nail down your settings for the different colors. And then after that, probably the easiest, Regina, to do from the stuff you got would be the horizontal bar necklaces. Those are really popular to just put a name in a pretty font. Brittany's Signature and High Spirited are two fonts that I really like for that sort of thing. And you could just do, like, let your customers tell you their first name, or you could put their wedding anniversary date, their children's name, or even like the coordinates of where they met their partner. And that would be a great one to start with. That would be fast.
Could you back up for a minute? And for people who don't know what the that test card you referred to is, could you explain more about what that is?
Okay. All right. So I have these cards. This is rainbow. It's going to show the reflection. Rainbow is always like purple and blue on one side, and then more green and yellow on the other. And this is just a type of stainless steel plating. But I sell these material test cards in silver, gold, rose gold, black, and rainbow. And you can go through and you can test your settings to nail down what's going to work best on your jewelry. So if I were doing this in my F1, I would go through and I would test power and speed and go through and what laser are you using, Regina? Your F1 has a material array that it can generate. And so you might see like what happens when you do 70 power with 5 speed, 80 power with 2 speed, 100 power with 2 speed, figure out what works the best. And then when you engrave those different colors, you'll know what settings to use to get a dark mark that you like. And on these material test cards, one side has a mirror polish and the other side has a brushed finish. So you can see what your different settings look like on the different polish levels of stainless steel as well.
This is so good. Man, this is great. I'm going to try to grab, I got 3 more that I've starred to make sure I don't lose them.
Okay.
Lynn, I'll address this one. And again, I'd love to have Katie's feedback if you have any on this one. Lynn said, mine is an Omtech 80 watt. My red pointer doesn't work and the laser doesn't use the full bed, such as the top few inches that is not used. That's why I'm not sure I can line up the jig every time. Let me tell you, one of the things I saw when I was at the Patels, they went and bought a, oh my goodness, I just lost the name of it. What happened to my brain right in the middle of the sentence?
I was there, but I don't know what you're trying to say. They have so many things.
L-shaped ruler, not a T-square, but a that you buy.
Okay, I think I know kind of what you're talking about. It's sort of like how on the F1 you have this little thing.
Way bigger that you can buy at like Lowe's or Home Depot. And ruler, square ruler, L bracket, framing square. Thank you. You guys are helping me in the chat. This is so good.
They are helpful.
But they went and they bought a framing squares and they just put them down in their laser in the corners.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they leave them there permanently. I think they do. And that also pushes it out into the work area and it creates a place that's repeatable every time.
That makes sense. So like let's say this was it. You always put this in the same place every time. And then you put this here. Well, it's backwards. But you put this here.
Yes.
And you'll always put that jig in the same place.
That's correct. And if you need, like on your Omtech 80 watt, since you're going to need to push it in for let's say you got to push it in an inch or 2 even, you can get a big framing square that's that fat and you can put it in the corner and it work great. And you can also build one out of wood even. It doesn't really matter. But that would be great. So I just want to let you know that. Lots of great comments here. Let me hit this one here. Could you repeat the font names that Brittany mentioned earlier?
Okay. Yes. One of them that's probably the most popular that people use, I'm putting it in the chat now, is Brittany Signature. And Brittany Signature is nice if you're doing, say, like a square or a circle. It's a little bit taller and more narrow. But if you are doing something like a horizontal bar necklace and you're wanting to fill the the horizontal space more, High Signature is a new one, High Spirited is one that I really like. And it has more of, I don't know what it's called, but it has more letter spacing and it will fill out that horizontal space more.
Perfect. Now, did you say that Brittany, your friend, suggested Brittany Signature? I think that's not.
No, but I do have an employee named Brittany here, and she does not want to be on camera, but she's here. You've probably seen her. She's laughing. You've probably seen her in the background.
So she's like the cat that hides, that nobody knows for sure she's actually there.
I'm the cat that hides sometimes too. It's taking me a lot to come on these videos, but I'm trying to do it. I'm camera shy too.
You're doing great.
My other employee, Megan, she would be happy to be on video. She's sick today, but this would be up her alley.
Catherine asks, do you have jigs for the sports necklaces?
Yes, I have got, I don't know if I've listed it yet. But I've got the cheer one that I need to list, and I've got the football for the wood. And then my friend Daniel at Alive Pixel, he has put out a couple of the sports ones so far as well. And we have more coming. Daniel, you're talking about dropping the ball with Daniel. I've dropped the ball with Daniel a little bit too. I need to ship him baseball, basketball, volleyball, and soccer. I'll do that after I get off this live, Daniel. But he'll make those. And yeah, so we'll have basically the goal is to have every blank have a wooden jig file and then also a 3D printed jig that you can get from Daniel. Thanks, Hannah.
Hannah's cheering you on.
She's
That's
so
awesome.
encouraging.
She really is. It's great.
She's the sweetest. I enjoyed meeting her in Tulsa.
Yep, she's great. Daniel, we love you, my friend. Thank you for your patience. Absolutely. In fact, Daniel, I know that you do not promote yourself, and I know that's one of the reasons we love you, but would you put in the chat where people can find your jigs? If there's a place that you can type in there, that'd be great. Yep.
Maybe he can put the address, but it's Alive Pixel Creates.
Okay. Perfect. Yep. I'll leave that on the screen there for a minute, but Regina says those jigs are amazing. So that's awesome.
It makes a difference, and something that I really like about, which I like the wood jigs too, but something I really like about his jigs is that he prioritizes fitting as many blanks on there as possible. So this has over 10 pairs of stud earrings on it. And I believe there's a bar necklace one that he's made that holds 18 necklaces at once. So you get that file down and you can sit there and engrave 18 necklaces at once. I mean, that is awesome for, turn and burn, get through it for holiday season.
That's great. I just need to get some 6-gauge earrings for me. But yes.
I've had people ask for me to do gauges that you can engrave or to do findings, but then I don't know, there's so many different sizes people have. Something some people use, I'll have to send it to you later. You could use a huggy that goes through it, so you would keep your open gauge in, and then the hoop would go through it. So
I did not know what that was called. So that sounded exciting.
To make you some earrings.
That's great. Daniel, I'll get a couple of these up here at the same time. I'll have a template for XCS and SVG. And then also Lynn asks, do the jigs come with a Lightburn file? You don't really need a Lightburn file, just something that is compatible with Lightburn, but you don't actually need a Lightburn specific file. Technically, I don't know what formats now Daniel said SVG, which would work just fine for Lightburn.
SVG is what I use for almost everything. But yeah, so he has those formats that come with his jigs. And when you buy the Alive Pixel jigs, it takes you to a download screen, and you also get an email, and you can download those files. And then with the wooden ones that I have, you get a ping, a PDF, and an SVG. Yeah.
That's great. See, I didn't know what huggies we were referring to, and I got to be honest, the picture that came into my head was not what we're talking about. So that's great.
Can you bring me a pair of 16 millimeter huggies, or just a pack of them? They're on the I just rearranged everything, so we're having to relearn where stuff is. Okay, so this is my thought, Mark, for your earrings that we're going to make for you.
Okay.
So these are huggies. So I'm thinking that we could, are your gauges that you wear, are they plugs or are they open?
They're plugs.
I'm trying to see. But anyway, I'm thinking that we could just open this and then put it through like this.
Yeah, we can do that.
So we'll work on your earrings.
I'll be one of your models for some of the guys or the people with gauges. Yes, that's great.
Yeah, there you go.
This is so good. So this time has gone quickly. Mark needs some huggies with crosses. Once again, that's a weird combination of words, but yes, that absolutely. I was going to say, I'm old.
You're not used to hearing that. You hear huggies and you think that someone is like wanting to give you diapers or someone's wanting to give you a hug, but it's just these things.
Which I'm closer to 60 than I've ever been, but I'm not using huggies yet.
I don't think you're ready for huggies. I don't think it's time.
Not time. But boy, speaking of time, this has gone really quickly. So I want to make sure that people know about your group. I don't want to assume that everybody's there, but you just crossed a great milestone. Tell us about that.
Yes. So in my group, which on Facebook, it's Monarch Pine Craft Supply Insiders, and he's
Yep.
got the URL up there. I did just cross 10,000 group members, and thank you. I have a giveaway that I'm going to do soon to celebrate, and my friend Mark over at Big Blue Laser Designs is putting in a prize as well, and so
Yes.
is Daniel actually too. So I'm really excited. I started the craft supply side of the business in December 2020. And it started as a side hustle to my earring making. And over time, it just grew and grew. And I'm just really thankful,
I love
really
it.
enjoy it. And I'm just appreciative that I get to do this.
I really enjoy your group a lot. It's a bunch of great people that love helping each other, and it's a really so if you guys aren't there, you should be. So I hope that today you get a bunch of requests to join.
Thank you.
So for sure. And then also, I should have said this in the beginning, but if you can't watch this live, it's okay. You can watch it on demand later, and we will do our best. I will, if I see any questions that come up in the chat or the comments after we're not live, and if Katie misses them or can't catch up with them, I'll make sure that we try to do our best to answer them for you if we can. So this is
That
great.
sounds good. I think one more question I
Yeah.
want to answer. It's from
Ooh.
Regina.
Material test.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, I'll put that up there. There
Okay.
you go. I'll read it out loud and then you can
Okay.
answer it. What do you think about using parameters suggested by Xtool for power and speed for that particular material? Does that make sense? I know how to perform the test, just not sure the speed and power to use for the test. I don't know the answer to that myself.
So I know when you put in the material array on Xtool, it lets you kind of put like a beginning and end point, I think, for the power and speed. And I can just tell you that when you're doing my blanks on your Xtool F1, you should test, but most likely you're going to use 100 power, 2 or 3 speed, and 300 LPI with 1 pass. So I would set my parameters to encompass those settings.
Okay.
You know, you're not going to go lower than a 2 speed, and I doubt you would go higher than a 5.
Okay.
And you're probably, yeah.
That's
I've
great.
got I have a guide in my group that's sort of an introduction to using your X12 F1 with stainless steel jewelry. I can tag you on that post, but I went through and talked about how to use the material test cards, the link to follow to create that test, and settings to start with, how to use jigs and things like that.
Great. That's
So
awesome.
I'll have to tag you there. And
In very normal live stream fashion, I'm getting ready to have somebody walk in my door right next to me, which is me. Great. So this will be a lot of fun. We'll see who this is.
Okay.
Either my DoorDash lunch or
What are you having for lunch today?
I'm having sushi today. Yes.
That sounds really good.
It's going to be great. So either way, we'll say hi to whoever comes in here. But Daniel, by the way, Tina says tag me too. Daniel's got here. I'll read this real quick. You really kind of got to know a little bit about what your laser is capable of. For example, you know that you won't cut on speeds over 200. Then you set your test would probably be from 2 to 200 max, and you can get up. Basically, here's what we have here. Daniel is a great resource for asking questions. Katie's a great resource for asking questions. I'll do my best as well. The thing about the community is that we all want to help. So if we don't know the answer, we'll tag in somebody that does. So keep your questions coming and we will help you figure it out one way or the other. But this is the group you want to be in right here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So make sure you're in there. Well, we're about run out of time, and I was going to invite my DoorDash person on the camera, but
they may not want that.
I think they're sitting out there eating my food. I don't know. We'll see. But is there anything else you want to tell people? It's been really great, and we definitely got to do this again. This has been really fun and really informative. So definitely do it again.
Yeah,
and
jewelry is definitely like a huge sector of the laser world. I mean, there are so many signs and tumblers and things like that that are wonderful, but go to any craft show or log on to Etsy and you see tons of jewelry. I mean, it's a large market that's important, and there's a lot of different directions you can go with it. So if I can ever help you you can message me, post in my group, join my group, and I'm always here to help. And if you need something, you can let me know. And if I don't have it, I'll see if I can carry it or if I can find someone else that has it for you.
Absolutely. This has been so good. I'm really glad everybody's been here to ask questions. And thank you, Katie, for hanging out with us. And thank you to your team member and your cat off screen. We're glad to have everybody
Oh, I
here.
hear her.
This is
I
great.
think she's trying to get outside. She thinks that she's supposed to be an outdoor cat, but she's not.
Real quick, before we go, Judy, yeah, the link on the screen is not actually a link. You can't click it, unfortunately. But I think Katie can probably drop it in the chat there.
Yes, I will do that right now.
Excellent. That's so good.
Okay.
All right. This has been so fun. Thank you, Katie, I appreciate you very much. This is great. We will
Thank you
definitely
for
do it
having me.
again. If I can help in your group or if you ever want to have me in there, I'll be happy to do it. But tell you what, everybody else, have a great rest of your Thursday. We hope it goes really well. Again, if we can help you with anything, please don't hesitate to post in the chat. We'll keep up with as much as we can. But until then, you guys have a great day. Go and join her group if you're not already there. And we will see you again soon. Now, Katie, don't go anywhere. I'll talk to you afterwards. The rest of you guys, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you in the groups. Happy Thursday.
Thank you. Good to see y'all.
Bye.